we want to be a resource of joy and collaboration and help them look across organizations at the programs of one nonprofit together with maybe the amazing technology that another nonprofit uses and combine them. Awesome. We reach and we serve more.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's the goal. Reach and serve more with what they're doing.
You're listening to Granted Goodness, the show about optimism, progress, and problem solving all across New England. I'm the creator and host of Granted Goodness, Andy DeMeo. Today I chat with my friend Tim Smith-Girding, who is founder and president at Blackbird Collective. We get into what Tim does more in the episode, but what you need to know now is that between the two of us, we talk to a lot of people in the nonprofit world. And a phrase we've been hearing a lot lately is that the ground is shifting beneath our feet. Many organizations doing really important work are feeling a lot of uncertainty about what comes next. So Tim and I have asked ourselves, what could actually help nonprofits not just survive this moment, but come out stronger on the other side? Our answer is something called the Earnest Impact Lab, and we're very excited to share it with you in this conversation. We also get into Batman, Salesforce, our inappropriately assigned names in Spanish class, and of course, what is so special to us about New Hampshire and New England. I want to thank our friends at Greenwave Electric Vehicles for sponsoring this episode, and congrats to friend of the pod Jesse Lohr and his team for just opening their second location in Salem, Massachusetts. I'm also very excited to share our second ever Granted Goodness live show is coming up Friday evening, March 27th at 3S Art Space in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We'll be featuring a bunch of other amazing local podcasters, including Laura Harper-Lake from Creative Guts, Marissa Emanuel and Emily Briand from One Quick Thing, Liz Canada from New Hampshire Has Issues, Allison Kinsey from Real Time Creator, Steve Ivo from Dr. Be Well, and Jen Bakos from Tel Talks Northeast. Get your tickets at 3s.org or grantedgoodness.com. There's a link in our Instagram bio at grantedgoodness. Hope to see you there, and now please enjoy my conversation with the one and only Tim Smith-Girding. We're here in Concord with my friend Tim Smith-Girding.
Girding.
Is that how you say it?
Girding. No, it's Girding.
Which one of those is your name?
None of them.
Okay.
No, my name is Timothy Paul Smith, and I was married a few years ago, and now I'm a hyphen person. Thank you.
Congratulations. That's great.
We are already doing a costume moment.
So you know what's different about this episode, Tim?
Is it's in my house.
Yes, that for one. This is the first one of these that I've ever done where, you know, you're really a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I describe everyone who's been on the show as a friend. I don't think I can really say that about the governor.
Is this like a capital F?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Likewise.
It is. But you are someone who, on their own merits, you know, I would want to be on here. And I'm going to keep this on as long as I can manage. We have a great relationship. I think we do. What do you think?
Yeah, it's been an adventure, and I think there's a lot of growth to happen. Yes, a positive adventure.
Yes.
There's a lot that I think we're going to be able to do together, and we're both pretty entrepreneurial, so we're kind of learning as we build something.
Well, I'll tell you, we met, I don't even remember where for the first time, but you were
LinkedIn.
Well, yes, on LinkedIn, but we got connected, and then it was like, there was like a height, like we didn't really get to know each other, and then through some reason or other, I ended up calling you one day. And you picked up.
Yes.
Or you called me and I picked up.
Yes.
And then it was like, oh, this guy likes to talk on the phone.
Yes.
Like me. And we had a great conversation. And then
I did not know at the time that you had a self-driving car.
Oh, well.
Which
people,
now it all makes sense.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's like you think of like, you know what I wish I had is one of those cell phone, like you think about where cell phone technology was in the 90s.
Flip phone.
Well, flip phone, yeah, but there's like, you know, the caricature of like the giant cell phone in a limousine, like a mob boss or something. Tell me about your relationship with
I'm married. Oh, no.
Well, it's funny you say that. I mean, so we're here in Tim's beautiful house in Concord, New Hampshire. Beautiful neighborhood. There's a wonderful swing outside there. And if it were warmer, we'd be on the swing. We'd also be recording on the swing. But you can't miss this. I mean, I'm obsessed with the color of these stairs, and this is not why people listen to this, but there's a lot of like superhero, like
and
remember,
horror,
yeah, like there. I mean, there's you and your husband, like as superheroes. Like,
yep.
I mean, that's pretty cool. Which one of you is like way into who's responsible for that?
The responsibility is dual. Definitely both of us. We have different superheroes that I'm more of a Batman Robin guy, and he's more of a Superman guy.
But
So we've
both
got
of
a
you are
little
into
bit of
tights.
both. Yeah, I showed you my annual Halloween costume,
Wolverine.
which is Wolverine, and it's one of the only costumes I could find to fit my head, the size of my head. But and we've got a
Imagine
Michael
that's-
Myers
that's a
mask
hard
and
challenge.
a Freddy Krueger hand up in the corner there
Very
too.
nice. And in the other room, there's the gold visage of a Tyrannosaurus Rex that apparently came with the house.
It was a long negotiation. Came with it was a sticking point. Not really,
Okay.
but yes.
Tim, what I like about you and what I've come to appreciate about, you and the work you do, like, you support a lot of nonprofits, but you're very, very, and, credit to people in the nonprofit world, like, I'm not saying they're like this necessarily, but you're laser focused on outcomes and like getting stuff done and helping, meaningful orgs that, you think are doing good work, grow and prosper and be better set up to do the stuff that they want to do. And you kind of occupy that space here in New Hampshire. How did you end up here?
Like, say I'm trying to build that space here in New
Okay.
Hampshire, and there's a lot of connective tissue out there already.
But you're like a Californian, aren't you?
I'm a
Or you're Kryptonian.
Bostonian, only child. Dad left, went to college in Maine, worked with immigrants in legal aid.
Okay.
Fluent in Spanish, lived in San Francisco.
This sounds like a cool story, but you're grimacing as you tell it.
Well, because it's a very long. People are, well, how are you in New Hampshire?
Right.
The short answer is love. But I moved back to Boston about 8 years ago from San Francisco, dealing with the kind of demise of both of my parents. Big burden, and was working at the Boston Foundation for 6 years, and oversaw some of the COVID-19 response work there, helping to build partnerships with philanthropy and hospitals to get PPE when there was no PPE, and help nonprofits navigate surviving, let alone thriving that time, and got really burned out at the same time I lost my dad. So a few years ago, actually 3 years this month, I was like, I'm just going to consult, and an overachiever took on, 5 projects at once, and started to bring on other people to do kind of like complementary work to my skill sets. And now I'm kind of formalizing that model where it's like, how can we all, work together under one umbrella, share revenue, share projects, and, build kind of a partnership approach with nonprofits so that they don't have to manage, a vendor for legal services, a vendor for fundraising, a vendor for strategy, a vendor for coaching.
Yeah.
And I do take like a New England approach to it, just given the connections there. But most of the work's been leaning in New Hampshire, and it's taken a couple years to get there, but some really cool work. I know Stay Work Play is one that we
are good
both,
friends.
I know.
We
She
love
should be
you.
here.
We love you, Corinne.
We love you. Well, you're an existing client. I deeply respect and appreciate you and value our partnership.
We can be transparent about the relationship. No, we have great. Corinne is a great collaborator to the Granite Goodness family.
Rock star.
Yeah, she knows that. She probably won't listen to this, but that's okay. She's got better things to do.
She's too big, yeah.
Yeah,
Too big
she's too big for us. Okay.
She stayed. She worked.
Well, I mean, so here's this dynamic that I think you manage well, that I really want to get at, right? Like, see, a lot of the people I've encountered who I think are doing some of the most impactful. Oh, that was a little footsie moment.
This is also going to age me. I've got a little left knee pain from some gym time.
We can stand if you want. We don't
no,
have
I'm
to,
good.
I don't want to.
The footsie is not intentional.
I don't want to contort you into a
contort.
I don't know if you're sincere when you say that. But a lot of the people doing like the most impactful or virtuous work, like a lot of the time, and sometimes they are, but a lot of the time, they're not always the best at like getting attention, or you know what I mean? Like, they're so focused on the work that, I don't mean to say that, funding or press or all these other things that
you're right. You're spot on.
Right. The stability that those things might provide to their work. I don't want to say they're an afterthought, but there isn't, I think it's rare to have both of those qualities. Some people are really great at like publicity and, getting all that stuff. And some people are just like, I'm obsessed. It's kind of like the founder lieutenant dynamic,
Well,
right?
if you think about that in like the private sector,
Yeah.
the companies, it's very rare to have a CEO of a major company that's able to really rally, internal, external stakeholders, build momentum, raise funding, is a visionary with the technical aspect of the work. And nonprofits it's the same kind of conundrum. So it's pretty rare to find someone that's like a technical program expert that can then kind of lift what they're doing up to a new level to kind of influence policy and the public sphere. And so like I'm trying to create space for more of those stories of like resilience now, but also hope and optimism, and collaboration between these organizations. So because I think they're stronger together and they're working on kind of similar issues. So kind of how can we in partnership in a community provide that foundation and kind of support for them to better tell their stories.
What do you think is different and special about the way that people approach, nonprofit work or mission-oriented work here in New Hampshire or even New England, whatever is more interesting to you? Like,
I think they're both interesting. I think, every state is so different in terms of what the ecosystem looks like, and that's directly related to funding, GDP.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think what's really special about New Hampshire is really anyone with any concept can start a new initiative. I'm going to not say nonprofit because I think too many people choose kind of this, I got to incorporate as a nonprofit when there's a lot of other ways to actually do the impact and make the impact that they want to make. But so there's a lot of nonprofits here. Mm-hmm. A lot of people with great ideas have started these things. And there's some good infrastructure, Charitable Foundation, the Center for Nonprofits to support and uplift them. But because there's so many and all of our counties in New Hampshire are so different and the needs are so different, it's hard to really connect all of those together. We think about, Seacoast, Hanover, Keene, Manchester, Concord, Nashua as like the major hubs of nonprofit work. But there's thousands between there that don't get as much support and or funding or visibility.
Right.
And so that's what's special is how many there are. That also brings the challenge of how can they best collaborate and, there's limited philanthropic resources. So, but it is special to see, person, and we're so civically involved.
Right.
Here.
Yeah, we have that.
Whatever happens at the government level is what it is in terms of like pace of change and stuff. But everyone's really involved in some way, whether it's their school or nature or community. And those all tie back to nonprofits at its core.
What I like about you, you're a good example of like the entrepreneurial, like people have such a limited, frame of reference for that word. Like it's, they almost always think of like, I think they're the
a tech company,
right? A tech entrepreneur or something like that. And like, really it's like, no. It's just, you're a self-starter. You are excited to mobilize people and resources toward a particular end. Right. And I think the coolest stories, or in my view, the most interesting people, present company included, I think are cool.
I heard exclude.
Well, no, I mean like not to like massage myself, which I do enough on this show. But the best entrepreneurs or the most interesting entrepreneurs, I think, are the ones who are convinced that because of their efforts, there will be a marginal difference, right? Like they're not just
100%.
doing something that like, oh, well, maybe I could do it, but someone also like they believe, no, I should be the one to do that.
Yep.
I'm best suited to do it, right? I have a unique approach, right? A million different reasons. So in that vein, like, can you tell me a little bit about Blackbird Collective?
Yeah.
Blackbird is like a whole new thing. Where did this idea of the collective come from? Like, why? I understand.
Such a San Francisco name. I know. Yeah. I view a collective as people working in partnership with complementary skill sets to advance nonprofits. And to me, with all the burnout that leaders have been going through, notwithstanding whatever's happening federally, is, there's a real kind of aging out of executive directors and mass kind of retirement happening. And then because of cost of living and things like that, a lot of people are leaving the nonprofit sector, and with some funding cuts that have happened, teams aren't getting as much kind of development resources, growth opportunities. They're focused on really that program and making sure that survives. And so we want to be a resource of joy and collaboration and help them look across organizations at, we take an asset-based approach. And, if you put, the programs of one nonprofit together with maybe the amazing technology that another nonprofit uses and combine them, awesome. We reach and we serve more. Ultimately, that's the goal, reach and serve more with what they're doing.
I love that. I like a resource of joy, right? That's very attractive. That's an attractive turn of phrase.
It's one of our core values. They're listed on the website, and efficiency is one too, which kind of counters joy. But I view, where nonprofits are going through some funding cuts, and so the last thing we want to be is a burden. We want to advance their work, and sometimes with a leader like Corinne, that's it's strong engagement, but it's trust that they'll provide us with the data and freedom to pursue stakeholder engagement and help chart their next course alongside them. So it's a real partnership.
Well, I view it as, and you just said as much, like there's a kind of convergence of all these different pressures, right? Good and bad, but maybe mostly bad, right? We live in an older part of the country, right? New Hampshire in particular, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, like like the three oldest states or something.
Arizona's up there too, but
which, age, not an issue, just in its own right. But you think about turnover and succession planning, right? Like that's a whole can of worms. Then you have, the current funding environment, right? All the changes happening at the federal government, even things at the state level, like whatever people think of it, a lot of longstanding sources of funding for programs, like they're all kind of up in the air now, right? A lot of uncertainty there, right? And then there's like, as if that's not enough, there's also the cost of living issues, those bite everybody, right? And so it's like, how can anyone look at this, tsunami of, what is it? Tailwinds? No, tailwinds are good. Tensions, headwinds. Right?
It's kind of like, the nonprofit sector is in a bit of a crisis right now. And I know this is goodness. And
the goodness is what you're doing about it.
Well, right? The goodness is the opportunity with it. And so we're launching kind of an initiative to help support mergers. And I think the unique thing about us, not to kind of differentiate ourselves, is we've worked in like direct service legal aid. We've also worked at the largest funder in New England. So we've done like direct service work with immigrants, largest fund in New England, and like national kind of philanthropic organizations. And so kind of bringing the best of those practices home here to New Hampshire is really what I'm looking to do in a partnership way, because I know that can also be, we want to respect the way the culture and the way things have been done here. But I think we need to also be honest with the data around burnout and cost of living, and making the sector attractive to enter, clear growth opportunities, and really being able to see yourself having a career in the space.
Well, consolidation, I think, is a frightening sounding word.
There's ego. There's some ego with it. If you found something, and I ultimately think it should be harder to start a nonprofit. I think, there's not much rigor. Whereas I think there should be a little bar for proving it's something new, or, has a certain financial runway, at least a year of kind of cash to be able to grow the program. But without those kind of policy changes, we need to look more organically at, how these organizations, kind of that example I said about take amazing programs with, a stellar, evangelist and speaker, with an awesome technical person, with a legal team that can help scale and acquire other nonprofits. This is a very like kind of business approach to it, but I ultimately think it's what, and some of the larger funders are already like encouraging it and funding it. And, so taking that burden, because it's an emotional, it's an existential thing, right? There's employees and their salaries, there's the brand and reputation in the community. And so, but doing these things from a position of like strength and not in desperation is kind of what we're looking to support.
Well, it's a tricky thing, right? And I think it's probably easy. This is why, like, you think a lot more about it than I do, or most people. Like, I think to people not in the nonprofit space, they see a kind of tension. Nonprofits, it's a tax status, not a.
And that's correct. I
Right.
mean, the NFL is a nonprofit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's that. So it's like this idea that you can't or shouldn't be innovative and entrepreneurial just because how you get funded, and like people should, like, of course you should be well compensated, right, for doing nonprofit work, but the fundamental character of it is like flows outward from the mission statement,
right,
and the board and all these different things, and so it's like, well, how do you define like profit is relatively simple.
Profit's impact on the community with that, and it's becoming stellar places for people in the sector to work. So like that's what the profit goes to expanding the team, providing better employee benefits.
Yeah,
healthcare costs are uncertain,
right?
If not growing. So I think it's being able to raise more funds collaboratively so that under less umbrellas we can give better benefits, help with childcare costs, help with housing costs, at the larger nonprofit level. And so the administrative and burden of running any type of business. I mean, I don't know about you. Sometimes I forget to invoice clients, and this is not at a huge scale yet. Imagine that, indirect service nonprofit work when, some communities are being attacked. It's like, they're not, let's take that burden off of them so they can focus on the work.
What is the Earnest Impact Lab? Like, what is that? I mean, I know what
is it not? I mean, it's a time-bound initiative to provide less resource nonprofits with an opportunity to expand their group of supporters, more clearly tell their stories, and get some executive coaching leading up to NH Gives and Giving Tuesday. And, we really want to provide a cost-effective way, and we're doing this together, which we're really excited about.
Yes.
To provide nonprofits that might be, North Country or in other areas that don't get as much visibility, a cohort model so they can kind of learn, grow together, and have an actual product that they can use to help fundraise for their next level, whether that means, mergers or implementing, a new physical place in the North Country. Who knows where it's going to go, but we've gotten some really good reception from it from some of the funders. I think, again, being entrepreneurial, we are going to extend the application deadline by a couple weeks because a couple partners are hopefully going to sign up in the next few days to fund some slots. Wink, wink. And we're taking up to 10 nonprofits, and we think it's going to be this ongoing offering at how Granite Goodness and Blackbird can partner. And we've seen that already with Media Power Youth and the work you've started with them, and just a fantastic organization with Heather running it. And more of these nonprofits that are working on, really important issues like Media Power Youth.
Yeah. Let's do one really clean. People are going to love it. If they don't catch the whole episode, we're going to make this into a whole clip. Tim, I'm a small nonprofit. I don't have enough time. I want more resources. Why should I do Earnest Impact Lab? Like, what is that? Why should I care?
First of all, you should ask a donor to sponsor your participation, or a funder. You should care because I see a lot of burnout happening with these leaders, and I'd say you deserve the space and community that it's going to provide. And it'll be a good way to expand your vision to new audiences, and find some joy in what you're doing in a way that can help maybe ground your team in a more effective way through a pretty hard time. So check out the link that we're going to send out, and we'll hope to see you there.
I'm excited about the Earnest Impact Lab and the whole menagerie of things that have come from that direction, because, Granite Goodness has undergone this kind of evolution, right? It started as kind of this hobby, podcast newsletter, and now really we're making the jump to be like a real media production company.
You've made the jump.
Yeah, no, I mean, I now describe it to people as, not just a podcast or not just a newsletter, but as a media company, right? And part of that is, all flowing back from the mission statement. We tell optimistic stories. We share optimistic stories of progress, innovation, and problem solving from all across New England, right? And, we do our own original content, right, with the pod newsletter and stuff like that. But I've produced content for New Hampshire Possible, which is a coalition of nonprofits.
Yep.
And, thanks to you, I've, had a wonderful introduction to our mutual friend Heather at Media Power Youth. And I'll be producing a podcast for them all about, conspiracy theories and how young people get exposed to them and what we can do about that. And I'm just like, this is so cool. So, big announcement that, we've made publicly, but this is another step toward this direction of, hey, we're an optimistic media company.
Yeah.
This is some of the stuff we do. So Earnest is in that vein. Like when I think of what it fits with the Granite Goodness brand of, we just want to tell optimistic stories. There's a lot of people who are doing great work who probably deserve more attention. Mm-hmm. And if that can turn into funding and support, great, right? New Hampshire Gives is this kind of 800-pound gorilla of nonprofit fundraising in New Hampshire, right? So flesh out more the relationship with that. Like, why does that
it's
matter?
more of a how can these organizations make the most of NH Gives? I think we see, we talked about kind of capacity constraints and nonprofits that, don't have a communications team or a social media expert or these resources on staff or on contract. It's kind of an afterthought. They feel like they need to do it. They want to do it to get their brand out there.
Yeah.
But they're often left kind of raising the least of the pot of pie. And so if that pot of the pie can get a little bigger for them, and we can provide some space for them to connect with each other and maybe create some organic partnerships. Maybe there's a org up north that wants to expand down south and vice versa and build, kind of provide that connective tissue.
Right.
If we do 10 this year, 15 next year, then we get into, we'll do like a North Country one.
Right.
We'll do a Seacoast one.
Yeah.
And, there's great orgs to partner with in all of these areas. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not so different from like how people find jobs, right? Like, and this is all going to make sense. I was speaking to like a UNH group the other day, and the number one question for them is always like, how do you find a job? How do you find a job? And it's always like, it's kind of weird how much like it has changed, but it also hasn't. And the fundamental advice being like, you really just like try to meet people and make a positive.
That's what it comes down.
Right. And so and like we think of how long, anything resembling the modern job market has been around. Right. 50 years at least. And tech has changed it and people meet virtually and stuff like that. But the fundamental, like the point I'm trying to make is you would think that all this stuff, right? The people seeking opportunities, the people providing particular opportunities, how well the two can be matched or married, that would be a much, much more better networked, better organized, more solved problem. It's totally not. It is like the Wild West out there.
One would hope. I mean, this gets into that.
And I think it's
nonprofits
analogous to nonprofits.
Wouldn't be needed. That the government, that our country would, and that this isn't partisan at all. Actually, you would hope.
Well, that's an interesting point of view. Yeah, we could dig into that.
You would hope that, they'd be needed less than they are, right? Or that they would be a bastion of like innovation. They would be, where new ideas start, and then the government effectively scales it. And, but that, unfortunately, we don't have the right tax laws for that right now.
Right. Yeah, and there's a whole messy. We could do a whole podcast just on that, right? Like, should nonprofits exist, or should
100%? It's not the essence. I'm not challenging the essence of the work.
Yeah,
I'm challenging the the role, the initial impetus for this public charity status, 501c3 was, okay, the government, we don't have enough resources to tackle all the needs. That's the role of kind of private philanthropy too, is to fill those gaps even further. But we see some of the gaps widening still, and so it's a broken system. But optimistic that through some hardship comes like these partnerships through necessity that looking back would be like, why didn't we merge like 5 years ago?
Right.
Or, we could have gone to, United Way and asked them, if there was an existing program that we could, have an analogous program, but under the same umbrella. And so creating that, like, we don't need to just start another nonprofit. There's already an ecosystem.
Yeah.
We can find ways to partner with existing backbones is efficient.
Yeah. Well, it gets at, I'm glad you just said all that, because it's, I'm going to connect it to the thought I just made about the job thing, right? Like where I was wanting to go with that, right, is like, you think that, as you said, I think of the job market as analogous to like the nonprofit world being, here's the missions, here's the needs, here's the problems entrepreneurial founders identify in society, and then here's all the resources, right, being money, et cetera, all the things that could in theory be optimally matched to those things. It is not, as you said, right? Like there's a lot of aspects of the system that, you can credibly say, I think, have failed. Look outside, right? Like there's homeless people. So like something's wrong. Yeah. Right. Like we're not in, and there's like, I don't mean to imply that like a state of perfection is even worth like, but it can be better than what it is now. Right. Like, and that's what we should strive for, which is a fun problem to solve for people like yourself.
That is a fun problem to work on.
Yeah.
And I think can leverage some of the ADHD superpowers because I can see it all in my head. So I just got to bring people along the journey, which is often a challenge that I have, which is I see it all and I've drawn it all.
Right.
And a lot of it gets to kind of, fiscal sponsorship, these ways to provide avenues to manage all the money of nonprofits and benefits that they offer all together in a secure way.
Yeah.
And use things like, Salesforce and other CRMs
Well, I was a Salesforce admin.
Yes, I was too, but I was the admin that was also the ED of a nonprofit.
Oh wow!
Meaning I knew how to BCC my email and have it saved to Salesforce.
That's a big deal. That's a big ugly BCC
Pioneer
address.
Actually, nonprofit I worked at in San Francisco was one of the first 10 to actually get Salesforce back in the day. Yeah.
Well, I believe they do offer like a free a nonprofit
I think
license.
for a certain number of seats for under a certain budget size nonprofit. Yeah. Check out Salesforce. Sponsor us, Salesforce.
I know.
I'm looking over here as if the cameras.
I know. As if
Sponsor us, Salesforce.
Mark Benioff is under the table right now.
I have introduced him at an event before.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Ohana.
Ohana means family.
That's the motto. But the more reasons we can get for people just like to get out of their house and to
join a board,
right? Mix
go
and
volunteer,
mingle, learn about different things. Like we need so much more of that.
Yeah.
And I think that there's great virtue to Earnest Impact Lab in that respect, right? As you said, like.
Yeah.
Hey, we really want it to be like a fun cohort, like 5 to 10 orgs.
Yeah.
You get to know each other. You go through this fun thing and provide something useful to you that's going to, get a lot of mileage for your organization. And then who knows what connections.
In 4 years, maybe we have 50 of them that then have built partnerships with each other and we can tell that story and see the impact of that. And I think the technology play is there's a big opportunity there, like let alone the fiscal sponsorship, but to build kind of a community, an online community of impact people here. And signal chat. No, but a true community where there's kind of topical gatherings. And I know you're part of Sustaina Brews.
There's no wrong way to say
Sustainability.
They're all
brews.
the right way and they're all the wrong way. I'm not part of it, Tim. I run Sustainable Brews.
You are the.
It's my child.
You are the brew.
Well, it's a Democratic.
No, I get
group.
it, but there's all these other groups that let's all have one community. The easy play there is a LinkedIn group, but I think it's broader. It's like, what are you working on?
Yes.
Here's a cool picture I saw last week at a client spot, or here's a motivational quote, or where there's like people, and it's not just nonprofits. It's like a lot of the for-profit folks, green businesses and clean energy companies and stuff like that. So
Oh, sure. Yeah.
you've had Sam Evans on. He's amazing. Sam has been to my house as well.
Oh, has he?
Yes.
I knew I smelled something.
He may have. I think his kids actually swang on the swing.
Yeah, his kids bilingual
We had
children.
a board I'm on. We had a party here last.
Did he
summer.
like teach his
I
children
spoke
Spanish in
Yeah, I
front of
spoke
you?
Spanish.
That's so
the kids.
cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, I was
Chévere.
What?
That means cool.
Oh,
Say it. Chévere.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Chevere.
You know, in 7th grade, I was in like intro to Spanish, and everyone, you know, had to.
Azul.
Yeah, blue. Was either right.
Yep.
Yeah, was either assigned or had to pick their like Spanish name for
Yep.
the class, and everyone got to pick their name, and the teacher, we can read into this or we can't, you know, was a woman in her 30s, assigned me the name El Guapo.
El Guapo.
No one else got an assigned name. I was assigned the name. I didn't realize
Is
until
she behind bars?
no, but I didn't.
Shout out.
I didn't think that was strange.
Shout out to El Guapo.
I know, yeah, for any reason until like years later, I told my father-in-law about it, and he was like, "That is kind of unusual."
Mine was
that
just
happened.
Umberto, which El Guapo means handsome.
Yes, well, I figured
handsome
that
man.
out. Yeah.
This is veered into an interesting direction.
Oh no, this is the point.
I know. No, I love it. My Spanish name was Umberto.
Okay, Tim, I'd like to ask one of my favorite questions.
Ooh.
What's a point of view that you have that is, you know, the most contrarian point of view relative to your like colleagues or peers to you? Like, what's your most like controversial?
Oh, I think how direct I am. And it comes from a place of, you know,
Love.
love,
Yeah.
lived experience, not talking about whatever, you know, upbringing, perspective, impatience for kind of the change. I think, you know, without getting into politics, I think I've become increasingly impatient for change, and that can kind of combat against the more deliberate nature of the state in some ways. And,
Sure.
you know, I am trying to do a better job of being more deliberate, but that also works up against the neurodivergence. We're only human.
I think a little impatience is. It's to work with a sense of urgency. I think is important.
Yeah, I think
You know?
sometimes I forget I have 30 tattoos and a shaved head, and I'm, you know, I think you called me like self-assured.
Probably.
My husband might say scary sometimes.
Oh no, I love it. Well, this is why
I'm impatient for change, and that comes out in some different ways.
I think you come across like a mission-oriented jolly pirate.
I like that.
JP. Well, you said resource of joy, right? So this is kind of, I'm reflecting that language back to you, hopefully in a campy way. But, you know, I mean, we bonded, we both have ear piercings, and, you know, you could have a mustache. You do have a mustache.
I do.
But there's all this other miasma, you know, issues
That's
going
a
on.
good word.
Miasma?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you shouldn't say it. It's
I won't.
pretentious,
Yeah.
you know. But no, I mean, it's like I there's a vibe that I think is, I don't know, no nonsense about you,
I think that's right.
right?
Yeah.
In the way that you speak and present yourself, and you know, you're a very friendly guy. Like, you're a very friendly guy, but you're also like, no BS. You know,
I think
like,
my values are my values, and
Yeah.
that's finding like partners in life and in work and friends and networks that are really aligned with that is really important. And I think, you know, that that circle narrows as we progress in our careers and life, and
Right.
and through resilience and stuff. So I think it's live and learn, and sometimes, you know, that matched with the ADHD, and I love talking about this stuff. I think it's a superpower, and also, you know, people don't talk enough openly about mental health or the brain wiring and stuff, but it's like this superpower that also can be a curse, like any
I see why there's comics all
Oh.
over your house.
yeah.
Superpower.
Like Batman, maybe I resonate with Batman because he can hide behind the mask if he's like freaking out internally.
He probably also has ADHD, doesn't he?
He's got Robin too.
Yeah.
I was an only child. I like having a little buddy. I know we've got a little image of us in a
Oh yeah, I asked the
motorcycle.
AI to drop
Yeah.
a very ridiculous.
I'm Robin in it, which I found very
You asked to
interesting.
be in the sidecar.
Oh, I saw the wink.
You did. You asked to be in the sidecar. I thought you were gonna be like, cause I am wearing my yellow tights under this table, which the camera cannot observe. But
Yeah,
that's okay.
they look good.
Yeah, thank you.
Earnest Impact.
I love it. Definitely not a reference to our mutual hero, Oscar Wilde. Definitely not.
I think I sent you a message at, probably 11 p.m. some night where you were driving back from some
From wherever.
place
I'm always
in
driving, yeah.
some county. And I was like, hey, I think we need a name.
Yeah.
And, how about something Oscar Wilde? I knew you loved Oscar Wilde. And
I still do.
You said, yeah, you still do.
I still love him.
Enduring love. And he said, Earnest Impact Cloud. I was like, done. That's entrepreneurship, right?
Right.
We're on, you're in a Signal chat. I'm on my couch cuddling my dogs and we like come up with the name.
And I did all the work.
You did all the work and I'll take all the credit.
No. Well, what's funny about that, I mean, in the original context of like what the word earnest means and is in reference to in like Wilde's canon of work is hopefully the opposite of everything we're trying to accomplish with the program. I mean, because it's, the whole, conceit of the play, the importance of being earnest is that it's just Victorian gentlemen like being
Right.
inauthentic, ridiculous, frivolous. They live double lives. They are not really concerned at all with nonprofit work, let alone substance,
Let alone
or
their
being-
behavior.
Yeah, no, it's very much just so the play is it's an ironic, like they're not earnest
Right.
in any sense.
Right.
We are very earnest people, but also silly.
You got to find the levity. We have to find the levity.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a good thread to go on in the time remaining. Like, but I want to give you a chance. You said you had questions from me. This never happens.
I polled my vast audience.
Did people
of
actually
Blackbird.
respond?
I got a few. Yeah. One was
I'm so ready.
someone that had one follower who was a bot.
Was it my mom?
But there were two real.
Okay.
And they both had the same theme. And so
I can take it.
how do you make it all happen?
What do you
That's the question.
What do you mean? I mean, I don't know.
How do you do everything you do and continue to have this optimistic, not even just stance, but with the world and how do you keep at it?
I mean, that's like a philosophical question and like an
I
organizational
didn't say it was
question.
going to be easy.
Oh no, that's I know how to answer that. I mean the literal physical answer of like
Self-driving car.
Well, yeah, I originally interpreted that as like kind of a programmatic, like, man, you put out a lot of, like, you ship a lot of
But
content.
that's part of it.
How do
for
you
sure.
do that?
Yeah.
I mean, what I would say to them is, again, the nature of publishing anything, but particularly social media is, it is actually not so different from the perspective that I would argue to critique the news, right? That it by nature is a selective, meaning fundamentally inaccurate view of that person's life, right? A view into it of them and how they spend their time. So, people may see, oh, whoa, Andy, like, he publishes the newsletter and he's always posting in LinkedIn the things he goes and does. It's like, that's just one very narrow sliver. You get the highlights, right? And, part of it too, like, part of the fun of being, a creator entrepreneur now is like people, they love authenticity. Like, your
Bingo.
right,
Bingo.
your ugly backstory of like, oh, my home,
Say my ugly house.
this hideous. No, it's
I almost
beautiful.
just swore.
It's beautiful. You can swear. You can swear. No one's told me I can't swear yet. I like it to be family friendly, and you can always bleep it out. I don't care. Well, no, but people like that stuff. Like it's nice to be alive today as a creator and as a creative entrepreneur because the more that you can show the what would traditionally be viewed as like the ugly details of like
The journey.
yeah, the journey of like, oh, here's what this room looked like before I
Right.
set it up. People love that stuff.
Right.
I love that stuff. It's like you think of how amazing it is, right? You think of like literally big, like they'll produce, Game of Thrones, right? They'll make a whole season of, well, not anymore, but you know what I mean? Like they'll produce a big budget
Great show.
TV show. Yeah. We're not going to go there. But they'll also, in a parallel fashion, invest, the time and resources and like videography and editing and all that stuff in making a show about the making of the show.
Right.
Right?
About the making of the show.
Right, exactly. They'll always be like, and stay tuned after this to see how it got made. Right. Because people are interested in that stuff.
Behind the scenes, but behind the scenes.
Well, I think this is because then it's like, when does it end? Right. Like, so
Right.
we're in layer 1 of this
This
kind
is
of.
happening with Stranger Things, by the way.
Well, that's what I mean. They're all doing it because
Yeah.
it's good content, and so it's a very fascinating dynamic, because I've seen it change in real time.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, I mean, I remember to get that perspective, it would be like some random bonus. You remember the bonus features on DVDs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you'd have to and it'd be the
I
weirdest
remember
stuff.
stuff before DVDs too.
Yeah, I mean, I know what VHS tapes are. So anyway, that's what I would say to that person, right? Of like, I mean, I do publish a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that I'm proud of and
I think
enjoy.
it was more also like we see you everywhere.
Well, I mean, that's the nature of following someone on a play.
And
You
you've
see
gotten
them.
some very well-deserved kudos in the last couple of months. I'm really, as your friend,
It has been
as
a
you're,
good-
bringing it full circle, which was actually the name of the foundation I ran
Oh, nice.
in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Bringing it full circle, capital F, friend.
Yeah.
Very proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. From a fellow pirate, that means a lot.
Yuppie pirate? No,
Joyful.
Yuppie. What's a yuppie pirate? That would be like.
I think that the nature of yuppiness and piracy are in some ways fundamentally at odds,
yes,
but perhaps not.
not a lot of popped collars
we could
in
debate
the pirate
that.
world. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Your collar's a little popped. You got a little prep going on.
I wish that. There's a whole.
I wore the shirt.
You did wear the nice shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a thread about Buccaneer fashion that I'm going to, with all my willpower, resist the urge to go down right now. And if people want, that's it. Bonus content. That's right. So that's my answer to like that, like the content. And I will say, it has been a good month for press for
Yes.
Granite Goodness, which is nice. So I mean, and you don't plan these things, just like they all converge. It's like, oh, there's this award, and so it's a union leader, and it's like I just like say yes to interesting things.
Yeah, no, of course.
Stuff happens.
All
but,
well deserved, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all, creates this new foundation for you for growth. I think we're both in like our businesses are kind of in the same
Yeah,
coalescing stage of.
we're about to become butterflies. We're molting.
Yeah,
I'm in a cocoon.
that's why my knee is sore
Cocooning.
because I'm a caterpillar and I'm.
That's okay. This
has been great.
We're gonna get. I hope you have some lotion for your knee.
I have a lot of lotion. I'm a lotion guy. Yeah.
All these things I'm learning about you.
Yeah.
What was the other
We've
question?
never talked. Yeah.
No, I know what
that
it was.
That was the question.
Well, it was it was also like the nature of like how do you stay positive or how do you
Yeah,
how do you do
was,
it?
You're late. It's not just this focus of yours. You like live it. Like people are clearly kind of gravitating towards this. We've also seen different kind of optimistic journalism like
Yeah.
pop up, but I'd say you were a pioneer certainly in New Hampshire. So, how do you, now that you're that, a year into, how do you keep that slant?
I mean, I think it's an evergreen perspective, and I like it because I think that optimism is a provocative attitude nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't really know how we got. Well, I do, but like I have my theories.
That's a separate episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not a Granite Goodness
you can make a couple of simple observations that I think frame what I'm doing and why in a way that is hopefully understandable to anybody, right? Those being like if you really want to try and answer this question of is the world better or worse than it used to be, right? Or is the world getting better or worse? It's almost an impossibly large question to answer, right? But if you had to try, how might you do it, right? You might think, what are all the things that I care about when I think about a good quality of life for myself, my family, the people I care about, maybe even people I don't know, but I still care about them, right? And then you think of all the attributes that, that might encompass. How long does someone live?
Right.
For how much of their life do they have a healthy life that they really enjoy? Do they have access to, a pollution-free environment?
Yep.
Do they have access to economic opportunities? What is their level of freedom, under the law? Their level
they have
of
housing?
Do they have housing? Right, like infinite things, infinite ways that you can measure and attempt to index someone's quality of life, right? So again, impossible question. But if you were going to try and answer it, what you might do is ask people, ideally a representative sample of planet Earth, a series of questions, getting their responses and saying, hey, what's your life like? And then you would ask them sequentially over a long period of time and see how their answers differ, for better or for worse. You can see where I'm going with this.
Well, I can also say their answers depend on how safe and comfortable they feel
100%.
with the person or the people.
And you can measure that too. You can
Correct.
measure all of it, right? Yeah. And so there's a million organizations that, do various forms of like trying to do this. But as it happens, we have this exact set of data. There's an organization called the Social Progress Imperative. Again, they're one amongst many. There's foundations, nonprofit. Like there's a whole world that's devoted to trying to like measure and answer this question of human flourishing. Right? It's super interesting stuff. And they did this exact thing, right? Between the years of 1990 and 2020, they're still doing it, and they even started before 1990. But it's like this is a really good, 30-year chunk of time where we have really good data on this. They asked these questions. They asked the same questions. They asked them over a period of 30 years for a representative sample of, every country in the world, 170 countries, which isn't every country, but it's effectively every country, right? And then you can see how the answers change over time between the year 1990 and the year 2020. The aggregate score of people's answers to those questions, the dozens of quality of life indicators, it got better. It got better on average in pretty much every country measured except for two, those being Venezuela and Tajikistan. Okay. So it's like pretty much every country in the world, if you try and answer the straightforward question, is life better or worse for the average person? Again, depends how you measure it. You can debate the question to death, but you can make a very strong argument that the answer is yes between this measured period of time.
Yeah.
And then there's even, you can go deeper. You can go back to the year 1800s, just like a question of data and resources. But like, so in the kind of blunt way of answering it, you can make a pretty good argument the world got better. What I find really interesting about that, as someone who, is kind of more on the media side, right? Like I'm not an academic. I'm on the storytelling side of people's relationship to big, ugly, complex problems, is that over the same exact period of time, more or less, I think beginning in 2000, you can make a similar measurement or like a parallel measurement, right? Much like how you can ask individual people, how are they doing? You can look at the character of news media headlines.
Right.
You see where this is going.
I do.
And you can see like, wow, what stories is the news telling us?
Right.
Right. And so if you look at the headlines used,
Yep.
Literally take a representative, like not even a representative, like the whole enchilada. If you look at 23 million headlines published in the English language across the last like 20 years, 30 years, and you just make a very simple, emotional like index measurement for the literal, 5 to 10 words used in a headline. Do the words denote a feeling of positivity?
No.
Yeah. Or cooperation or an affirmative vision for the future?
No.
Or they denote a feeling of anger,
Guns
disgust,
and
sadness,
war and
depression, anxiety,
and,
conflict, right, et cetera, et cetera. Surprise, surprise. The number of headlines evoking those feelings, the negative emotions, have more than doubled over the same period of time. That you can make a very, very data-backed argument that the world actually got better in aggregate, right? It doesn't mean that awful things don't happen. It didn't happen, right?
No, that's right.
The same, had the
this
wars.
totally brings me back to even Media Power Youth, to bring that full circle.
Yes.
What our young people are fed, and these online communities of actually isolation.
Yes.
And so
it's all feedback
I think
loop.
it's all by design, and you're disrupting that design. I think.
Yeah. Well,
and just like independent media, I think with some recent acquisitions that have happened with the media conglomerates, and I think independent media is one of the only hopes that some people have around media right now. So keep doing your thing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And again, what I'm doing is pretty weird. It's pretty different. And it's, I think why it's working is because, again, it's a model that I have observed with success, being applied to the world writ large, right? Like, so again, I'm just like a career environmentalist. Like that's how I got into
Yeah,
all this
yeah.
stuff. You know, it's like I've always wanted to have a mission-oriented career. I think I've succeeded in that, and I've enjoyed every job I've had. I've done a lot of different weird things, impact investing and climate policy.
That's why you knew that term, evergreen.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, local food, beekeeping, sustainability operations at colleges, carbon accounting, right? Like a whole menagerie of different areas. And I felt like a lot of the people that I met in my career were doing really cool, interesting things, and felt confused and a little bit upset that their stories didn't make their way into the media ecosystem, right? So that turned me on to this whole other world of like, whoa, there's an explicitly optimistic kind of solutions journalism ecosystem out there. Wow, I didn't know that deforestation had basically gone to like zero in the Amazon. I didn't know that we had invented 2 separate vaccines for malaria. I had no idea that the number of people living in extreme poverty has dropped faster in the last 60 years.
HIV might be cured soon.
Right,
like
exactly.
All these progress.
You can go on and on and on and on and on, right? Again, and so it's a very nuanced view. I'm not out here trying to tell people that the world doesn't have problems, but my critique is that more often than not, like almost exclusively, the way that people learn about big, ugly, important, complex problems is almost entirely through the lens of negativity or how this is threatening or should frighten you, right? It's not
the
often
shock, like kind of the shock factor of it.
Yeah, that's the
so let's shock people with the good.
Right. Well, it's like the media it's so incentivized to tell stories through that lens because you know there's a competitive attention economy. You know, bad news sells if it bleeds, it leads, et cetera, et cetera.
They suck people in. They shop more online. They
right. And so I understand the nature of that, but it's the sort of thing that when you ask individuals who participate, you know, in journalism and news, they kind of treat it like it's this it's like they're in the water and they don't know that it's like, well, yeah, and I have to have a provocative headline, so I want people to read it because I need the attention.
Or they know they're in like the shallow end and they don't see that they're almost not able to stand in the water. And then
it's individually rational for them, but it adds up to something that's not
cumulative
in our collective self-interest, right? And so, you know, my project isn't anti-news, it's not anti-media, it's not antagonistic to traditional media.
It's pro a lot, which is that's
very much,
That's what I think, you know, back to entrepreneurship as we close up. It's like,
I know I just spoke way too long.
It's all about timing too, right? Like the timing of Granite Goodness, maybe even Blackbird Collective feels right and salient. And I'm getting tired.
I know, we can be done. You've been under the lights. You've been under the microscope.
It's more that I have to pee.
Oh, I know. That's good. We should take a bathroom
should we
break.
Do
Break
like a
in the
close,
end.
or are you good?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, that's all to say. If that person wants to listen to, you know, my ugly Godzilla-sized answer, they're welcome.
No, it's
to
it's a complex. I mean,
it's super
these
complex.
things are complex.
No, they are.
I will say that's what I think you do really as an Optimist Club member.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Optimist Club.
Thank you, Tim.
You distill these things down in a digestible manner.
Yeah.
So you distill it down so well that I can't even say the word digestible.
Yeah.
It's that digestible.
You got to take your Tums. Well, I've seen a lot of other people do it. I've had a lot of practice at it, you know, and it's sincere. It's sincere. I mean, it's like
sincere.
How am I optimistic in one sentence? There are enough things that are true today that we can point to endless examples of, and I can literally like tell you, go onto ourworldanddata.org, go onto fixthenews.com, go onto theprogressnetwork.org, like endless. There are enough things that are true today that we take for granted that were considered impossibly great, impossibly positive trajectories for all kinds of issues, everything you can think of, incarceration in the United States, even, you know, carbon emissions, deforestation around the world, the eradication of extreme poverty, the development of vaccines.
You help us see the increments, I think. You know, we said at the beginning, it changes incremental.
Yeah.
You're bringing us along those increments, which I think that everyone wants the end result.
Yes.
We don't all define that end result even remotely similarly, but we're more similar than some folks lead us to believe.
Yeah.
But you bring along, you know, your audience and your community along the journey.
And I just think that the optimistic perspective on issues it's systemically underutilized 100%. Or undersought, right? And 100%. So there's an opening, and I think a necessary and moral opening to build a media brand around that's locally oriented, because there's tons of people that do this work, focus on the whole world. And, when I got exposed, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This has changed the way that I see the world.
Yep.
I really think that there's a case to be made. We can be more optimistic about the issues because we're so systemically unaware of how much certain things have gotten better.
It's also a choice.
It's also a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you can
We are wired a certain way, but it's also a choice.
That's the rational. Yeah. I mean, you can talk about.
We don't need to talk about rational.
Well, it is. It's. I like to define. I mean, optimism is the kind of triple threat, right? It's. You can make the case it's more rational, right? Which you can make a strong argument for. It's healthier, right? There's a lot of science for that. And you just get more done.
Yeah.
It's pragmatic.
Right.
If you have an optimistic view, you get a lot more done. So to that person who asked that question, go on to granitegoodness.com and read.
It was your mom.
No, it wasn't.
My mom.
I was like, I didn't need to say all that for my mother.
She hears that everything.
Damn it. Oh my God. Yeah, she's like, enough.
But shout out to moms.
Yeah, thank you,
Moms
Mama.
are amazing.
Thank you, Mama. Mama's going to listen to this. Thank you, Amy, mother.
Mother.
That's how everyone refers to their
Amy
mother,
mother,
isn't it? Okay, Tim. Are you an optimist? Why?
I'm an optimist because.
And what makes you optimistic?
What makes me optimistic is necessity in some ways.
Okay.
I think it's very important right now with everything going on in the world to find the joy and focus on the optimism when able to. And on the choice side, I choose to see the good and let go of resentments and the bad, and focus on the future and the opportunity. And it is bright despite what we're fed. So
yeah,
thanks for having me.
Love it. No, it was a joy. Tim Smith Girding, thank you.
Andrew DeMeo
thanks for joining Granite Goodness. Chevide. Hey there, thanks for spending some time with us, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. You can learn more about today's guest and how to get involved with or support their work in the show notes. Music for this episode was provided by the band Sneaky Miles, who hail from Newmarket, New Hampshire. Granite Goodness is made possible through the generous support of our community partners, Resilient Buildings Group and Greenwave Electric Vehicles. If you like what we do and want to support us, please subscribe at granitegoodness.com or leave this podcast a rating or review. If you have any good news story tips, would like to suggest a guest, or just say hi, please shoot us a message at hello@granitegoodness.com. Until next time, I'm the creator and host of Granite Goodness, Andy DeMeo. Thanks for listening.